Today we're going to do transformations of linear functions. The objective, you should have just wrote it down a little while ago in the essential question. The objective says, I can determine the effects on the graph of the parent function, f of x equals x. So this is the parent function, and that's what we start with all the time. Then when changes get made to that, that's when transformations get made. So when f of x is replaced by this function, the formula a f of bx minus c plus d for specific values of a, b, c, and d. So what I want you to do right now is on the paper from yesterday that you folded, I want you long ways to write this formula. So if you need to pause the video, you can pause the video. So write the formula big on your paper. Write it in big. And I'm going to take off these boxes in a little bit, and we're going to talk about each letter one at a time. So you should have paused the video, and you should have wrote this really big on the paper, because we're going to have to fit a lot of things underneath it. So the first thing that I want to talk about is D. Okay? D is always outside of the parentheses. D is outside of the parentheses at the very end, and it'll always have a plus or a minus. Okay? What does that do? I'm going to move this over. D translates the function up or down. Okay? This number is going to make it go up, or it's going to make it go down. Okay? And I really want you to pay attention to all of this, because it's going to be on the quizzes that we do in just a little bit. So you're going to use your notes to get all the answers from the quizzes. So again, if this symbol is positive, positive 2, positive 3, whatever it is, that means it's going to be going up. Translation up. And if you want to put a little arrow so you know what up means. If it's a negative, if that says minus 3 or minus 4, that means it went down. Okay? And it went down whatever number that says. Subió o bajó. Again, you can pause the video at any time if I'm going too fast. Next, I want to talk about C. And C is always going to be inside the parentheses. C is always going to be inside the parentheses, okay? And C always does the opposite. So I want you to write down right here is going to be the opposite. Lo opuesto, the opposite. Because normally, when you go to the right, those are positive numbers, and when you go to the left, those are negative numbers. But this says that if it's a negative, it's going to be going to the right. Okay? Negative C. If it says minus 2, that means it went to the right 2. If it says minus 5, it went to the right 5. The opposite, because normally minus would be to the left, right? And if it says plus C, then you went to the left, para la izquierda. Which doesn't make sense, because normally numbers to the left are negative, not positive. So that's why I said it's going to be the opposite. Okay? Lo que esté aquí adentro del paréntesis va a ser lo opuesto. Normalmente los números para la derecha son positivos y los números para la izquierda son negativos. Pero aquí dice lo opuesto. Si es menos, van a ser para la derecha. Si es más, va a ser para la izquierda. Entonces ustedes tienen que memorizarse eso. Adentro del paréntesis. Ok, no afuera, adentro del paréntesis. Okay, ready? And again, you can pause the video if you need to take it slower. Now we're going to look at A. A is always in the very front, okay? Outside the parentheses, in the very front before the F, the A. So what does A do? if A is greater than 1, okay, greater than 1, it will be a vertical stretch. So for example, those are numbers like 2, 3, 4, 5. Big numbers, okay, greater than 1, it's called a vertical stretch. Los números mayores que 1. Okay, vertical stretch. If the number is a fraction, put right here, fraction. Or decimal, like anything in between 0 and 1. Numbers between 0 and 1s are fractions and decimals. That's going to be called a vertical compression. Los números entre 0 y 1 son decimales y fracciones. And if A is negative, so if there's a negative right here, that's a reflection. Reflection. Okay, and it's a reflection over the x-axis. So if A is negative, it's going to be a reflection. So if there's a negative in the very front of the equation, just know that it's reflecting over the x-axis. So you're looking for that answer. Okay, and the good thing about all of this is that you're going to get to use these notes on your quizzes in just a little bit. The last one that I want to talk about is, I'm going to do it in red, is this B. The B that's inside the parentheses, okay? It's after the F and it's before the X. So that letter, what does that do? That's going to do the opposite as well, okay? So opposite of what this one does, the opposite. And you can tell right away, look, vertical stretch, horizontal compression. So it's the opposite. Vertical compression, horizontal stretch. Okay? Reflection over the x-axis, reflection over the y-axis. It's always the opposite of what the A did. So inside, those are called horizontal stretch or compression. So if the B is greater than 1, it's going to be called a horizontal compression. If the B is a fraction, any number in between 0 and 1, it's called a horizontal stretch. And if B is negative, a negative number inside the parentheses after the F and before the X, it's going to be called a reflection over the y-axis. Okay? Anything inside the parentheses are opposites. So you're doing the opposite of what you're thinking. Okay, when you are done, go ahead and go to joinquizzes.com and wait for the code that I'm going to post on the board.